welcome to the first episode of the brand new Evil Geniuses Creator Collective podcast called Two Weebs in a Pod, which is such a stupid name because I came up with it and I really, really love it. And I am one of your hosts, Lisa Wallen, aka Weesa Lawlin, depending if you follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I am a stand-up comedian, streamer, writer, host, and massive weeb. And this is our brand new podcast, and joining me is my brand new co-host.
Hello, my name is ARUUU. I am a content creator for Evil Geniuses. I stream. Wow, Lisa, how do I follow up on everything you do?
You're a TikTok.
Yes, I do TikTok. I do all of that, streaming. I play video games, sometimes cosplay. A lot of anime content. As you know, I grew up with anime, so I have a lot to say as much as Lisa. So we were like, we talk about anime all the time together. So we were like, why don't we make a podcast?
Yes, we have a lot of hot takes and a lot of opinions, and neither one of us know when to stop talking. So this is kind of this is our new thing, and I'm really excited because I had an anime podcast a couple years ago, and I really liked it. My co-host wasn't as much as into anime as I was, so it was kind of hard to go in those really deep conversations. But I had ARUUU on my Lisa's Lair, which is another Evil Geniuses show, a few months ago, and we dug into some hot takes. Actually, the first time we met, we immediately dug into
we bonded because we had a lot of the same hot takes too.
Right?
So we bonded over that. We were like, oh my god, I've never met anybody who has the same hot take.
It's very odd to meet anime fans that you can bond with without being like, tell me all the catalog of what you've seen and haven't seen so I can recommend you things. But you and I were like, we both equally hate these people. Wow, we should become friends. So for our first episode, we're gonna have a little bit more of a formula ahead of time, but we just want to do a quick introduction of who we are and how our anime history, and like I said, I don't know if any people here have listened to my old podcast, but they probably have heard me say the exact same thing I'm about to say today. Why don't you start us with your anime history?
Ooh, okay. I got into anime, I think, very similarly to other people. So when I was watching anime, the first time I ever watched anime was when before I knew how to speak. Because I remember I was like, this is before first grade, but it's such a vivid memory for me because...
So your first word was baka, basically.
Basically, yeah. Because I would stay up watching Cartoon Network, and I would stay up really late as a kid. And my parents thought it was a good idea to leave a TV in my room. I don't know why. But I had a TV in my room with my sister, and so we'd stay up watching Adult Swim every night. That's when I was introduced to my first love. To this day, I will call him my first love because Inuyasha came on the TV. And as I wasn't even a coherent human being, and I was like, I am in love with this man. I already knew. Yeah, I called him half angel, half demon boy.
So your brain developed with anime.
Basically, yeah. And that's why Inuyasha is my favorite anime. I understand that it has faults, and I understand that sometimes the writing is inconsistent. However, it's that special place in my heart. Nothing will ever compare to that. And then growing up, it was I don't know, people have certain opinions on whether they count Pokemon as an anime, but of course Pokemon,
an anime.
Yeah, that's what I say. And it's my brother introduced me to Pokemon, and then when I was in elementary school, that's when my brother and I first started Bleach. And so me and my brother would always watch Bleach together, always watch Inuyasha, and then from there it's I discovered YouTube, and then after that it was anime galore.
Well, this is my life now.
Yeah, exactly. It really became my life. I remember at some points, because I was getting homeschooled, and all I would do was watch anime all day, every day. What a life. I loved it.
So ARUUU is half anime character, in case you guys didn't know. It's in her genes now. That's really funny. Well, that's awesome, too, because, we're a few years apart, so generationally, that's a word.
I think so.
We're, a little bit different, because... Yeah, when I was a little kid, I grew up on Sailor Moon, Card Captors, Sakura, which is Card Captors,
all the good ones.
Yeah, Digimon and Pokemon, and yeah, like you said, those animes have their faults, but a lot of that had to do with really weird localizations too, and also the fact that it was 90s, things weren't as
well, and especially you mentioned Sailor Moon, which Sailor Moon 1, there was so much that was changed, so much that was cut out, so much that was
all the names,
taken, especially taken to be kid appropriate is what they thought, but like I watched Sailor Moon in Japanese afterwards, like once I got older and realized like, oh, so much has changed, and like it's almost like the Japanese version is almost completely different in regards to like storyline.
Oh, absolutely. I rewatched the Japanese ones because like, yeah, when I was a little kid, like we didn't have easy access to anime. Like I had to like go rent VHSs and they were like $50 for 5 episodes, and they were all in English, so it's like you thought it was like this really like, oh, kiddie series. And then later on when DVDs and Blu-rays came out, I rebought all the Sailor Moon on DVD and watched it in Japanese, and I was like, wow, this is way different. Same thing with Cardcaptor Sakura. There was so much censored out of it. So
mine was like going to YouTube and then being like episode 1 part 1, episode 2 part 2, episode 2 part 3,
which is for some reason an AMV.
And then you're watching AMVs.
For some reason the part 3 of this episode has a Linkin Park song the whole time. Wait, so did you watch Inuyasha in English or Japanese?
I watched it in English, and then when Final Act came out, which was like the final season, I watched that in Japanese.
And did it feel like a different series to you?
It felt more so the same, especially because Final Act, I feel like even with the dub, they followed it closely. Because Inuyasha was on Adult Swim, I feel like there wasn't a lot they needed to change because it was never kid-friendly to begin with. But yeah, no, I like a lot of people will say, like, which one do you prefer with Inuyasha, the dubbed or the subbed? I prefer both. I like both.
Okay. Wow, which is funny because I know one of your dub hot takes, which we'll get to later on.
Don't get mad at me.
So did you ever go through a phase like I did? Because like because like it was so limited to get it when we were little kids, by the time like internet came out, it was even harder to get it because like we didn't have good internet. You had to download it. You had all these viruses. It was expensive because like I was in high school, junior high, I had no money. And so there was like a big, like I would say like 12-year gap that I just didn't watch really that much anime. I would watch Naruto and you know, just like I watched Avatar, which, you know, is an anime, but like I didn't really deep dive back into it until like my early 20s. Like did that happen for you? Or
it's not so much a gap, but like especially nowadays, it's like I feel bad because at one point I was watching like everything that came out in the season, and now I can only maybe watch like 2 or 3 animes from the season, and I feel bad because it's like, oh, there's so many good ones, but like how am I supposed to fit this into my schedule? But like back when I was a kid, I could watch whatever I wanted all day every day, and now I'm like, I don't know, it feels weird.
Well, it's because now like I think when I started streaming, I kind of fell off like consistency. Like now I just watch seasonals, and exactly. I was actually looking up seasonals coming out in fall, and I was like, this is stacked. I'm gonna have to like move my schedule around to like watch things, which is a good reason why I wanted to start this podcast, because when I had my anime podcast, I was already getting that point where I was getting burnt out, but it really like got me like, okay, I need to get back into like review mode and watching stuff. And as much as I wish I had more time for it, I think having something like this is gonna let me just drop my phone. It's gonna be more consistent for us to like get things into things again. So I'm really excited to do this. I did want to ask though, like so you have Inuyasha and everything you grew up on. So what would you say are like your top 5 favorite anime right now?
Ooh, right now?
I say right now because it's like
because like I could bring up like an anime from the 80s and be like, that is still my favorite.
Yeah, like it's like
right
asking
now,
what is your favorite band? I'm like, I haven't listened to Led Zeppelin in 20 years.
Ooh,
but you know,
okay,
like
so right now would be Jujutsu Kaisen. I really like the movie. I like Spy Family. The Spy Family is such an interesting. It's so interesting how it's become so mainstream, because usually I feel like anything outside of shonen doesn't really get that spotlight. So I'm really glad Spy Family's in there. I think it's great.
I think it also helps too that it's serialized with the shonens, but it's a bi-weekly, so it's like I feel like the writers get time to like actually make it good.
For sure. Ooh, this is kind of hard because I'm trying to think of like, what have I been watching? I mean, Ouran High School Host Club is always going to be up there. That's like a permanent spot. Same with probably like Maid Sama. That's always like permanently up there.
Great.
100%.
That's one of my favorite rom-coms.
She's just great. Misa's amazing. And probably like Attack on Titan, just to throw that in there, because I feel like that is surpassed, like much like how Dragon Ball has. I feel like that is surpassed anime. You know, like even people who aren't into anime are watching that.
My dad got me into Attack on Titan.
Really?
Yeah. Like it was very weird. It was like my dad is like a sci-fi nerd, and like, even though he'll watch anime, he just watches anime like I don't watch. He watches like Ghost in the Shell. And,
okay, that makes sense.
Like cyberpunk stuff, which is like I'm kind of into it. But I remember one day he came up, and it was right after the first season was on Netflix, and he was like, "Do you want to watch the show Attack on Titan?" And I was like, "Okay." And that was actually one of the anime that like, got me back into it. So I was like, "Oh my god, my dad really turned me into a weeb."
For a long time, it's so interesting because like for a long time I hated Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah.
Like, I hated Levi. I hated Attack on Titan because I felt like it was being shoved down my throat. I'm like, I hate hearing about this. Like this character's so not even that hot
to watch sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
I have
like
to be in a mood for this.
But then I watched the first episode, and I was like, after the first episode, and years I ignored Attack on Titan. Years I ignored Attack on Titan fans because I'm like, I thought they were overhyping it. I was like, there's no way that this can be that good. And I remember one time I sat in my bathroom and I was like really mad about something, and I was like pouting, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch it, whatever. And then I watched the first episode. I'm like, oh my god. And then as I watched it through, I was like, this is probably one of the, like when people say like Attack on Titan is like the best anime to ever exist, I feel like that is a very valid argument. Not necessarily that I agree, but like if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, I completely understand where you're coming from. Valid.
There's not a lot of things that are like it. And I was kind of the same way. I ignored it because I remember it was around the same time Tokyo Ghoul came out, and Tokyo Ghoul was just ugh.
Oh my god.
I liked the manga, but I was like ugh. And so I had this idea that I was going to be like this overhyped edgelord gory anime that everyone was into because they're like, oh yeah, there's like blood and monsters. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, this is really good, but also I have to be in a mood to be traumatized to watch it. So but yeah, like that, I would say that's probably pretty high up on like my favorites as well. But
what about you?
What about me? I would say for recent anime, I'm also really loving Spy Family and Kaguya-sama Love is War. Maid-sama's better though, just saying. But I'd say like of all time, obviously Gintama is gonna be my number one, and Hunter x Hunter. Like those are ones that's like I don't think those will ever be taken away from me. And then Mob Psycho, which is great because season 3 is gonna come out this year. And
I heard.
Have you seen that yet?
I have. The craziest thing is the majority of anime you mentioned I haven't seen. Hunter x Hunter I haven't seen. Mob Psycho I haven't seen.
Well, this
Gintama.
Podcast is gonna
and they're all like they're all super popular too, but I don't know why I haven't like gotten around to it, you know, because like they've always been up there as like everybody's talking about them, but I feel like it's the commitment issue. I feel like a lot of anime fans have this problem too, because you're like, oh, I'll watch it, and then you see like 40 plus episodes and you're like, oh, okay.
I haven't seen Inuyasha because it's like, you know, that was a big popular anime that I didn't grow up on. So
I have to correct this really quick. My top like 3 favorite anime, JoJo's is in there. I know people are going to be like, how did ARUUU not mention JoJo? All of her notifications are JoJo.
Because we haven't been consistent on anime. I'm like, I have to write down things that I've seen.
Exactly. Like JoJo's always going to be up there. For me personally, I know people won't agree, but for me personally, JoJo has like surpassed anime. Like it is a lifestyle for me.
I mean, it's also one of the most iconic series of all time.
It's so good.
On my last podcast, I did an episode on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and just the impact it's made on like fashion, everything. It was a 2-hour episode. Like there's
it's iconic.
Yeah,
it is amazing.
The cultural like part 4 is my absolute favorite, but that's where I totally
everybody says part 4, and I'm like a part 4 like part 4 is okay for me. Like I loved part 4 and I really enjoyed it, but like for me part 3 is like and I think the reason I prefer part 3 is because it's very much like my favorite movie is Lord of the Rings, and I feel like part 3 is very much like Fellowship vibes. I feel like it's Fellowship vibes. So I'm like part 3 is always going to be my favorite.
It's also right when they started introducing like stands.
That's when it got really good.
That's when he had the most fun doing it because like I think we could just talk about JoJo right now. I knew this was gonna happen, but like I read every part except for part 8, and I feel like after part 3, it to me is like superior as far as introducing the stands because he's like, this is a new power, and then part 4 is my favorite because I love all the characters. But then like part 5, 6, and 7 is like how ridiculous can we make this, which is very JoJo, but to me it like kind of strays off of the original concept. So I agree. Plus, I mean, I love Jotaro and I love Old Man Joseph.
After part 6 ends, I'm gonna start reading it because I'm not gonna wait for it to get animated. But I like made it a point, like after part 6, I'm gonna start reading JoJo's.
Yeah, thanks
because
Netflix.
I can't. Yeah,
Anyways.
especially like I don't want to be like mean or anything, but like Netflix, why?
It is really good. I love Jolene, and then part 7's great. But I'd also say Run with the Wind's pretty far up there. Obviously, another anime. Don't shut up. It's funny. It's like I'm like the type of person. It's like I've seen hundreds of anime, but I only talk about these 4 over and over again. Yeah. And then as far as like other new anime, I really loved Ranking of Kings, which I know kind of fell under the radar for everybody. But I started to realize too, like, I think because I've been watching anime for so long that now things that have like different art styles stick out to me much more than like, because so much anime, like looks the same, you know, and like even like Run with the Wind looks like the most generic sports anime. It's my favorite one, but like I think for me now, because I've kind of fallen off the consistency, that I'm just kind of looking for things that stick out. And so I started watching Ranking of Kings and I was like, oh my god, like this looks really interesting. It looks like almost like a Western cartoon, so like really like
I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, you're like I want the prettiest Bishonen
exactly like I always
Final
look
Fantasy
for the
characters.
exactly like I look for when it's like bright colors, like great animation, like everything just looks like very, very high quality. Unrelated, and I'm not sure if we can talk about this, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway. Did you see the quality of that H anime that came out and everybody was like raving about it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I saw that on TikTok. I was like, what is this? And then when I found out it was just like it's not even an H anime, it's like a trailer for I
think it's a promotion for like the manga anniversary or something.
But it's like not a like family friendly
I like
manga.
how you say H. You're so funny. H anime. We know what the H stands for.
But I was shocked, and I'm like, I would genuinely like watch this and just skip over the very spicy parts. But like I was like, the quality is so insane.
I just want the spicy parts. But yeah, you're right.
The quality is crazy. I was like, holy smokes. And like stuff like that always makes me want to watch it. I think that's why I really love Jujutsu Kaisen, because some of those fight scenes are like out of this world.
Oh yeah, and like it's very funny too, because like for example the Way of the House Husband anime. I guess it's not really anime, it's more like a manga flip book animation that was put on Netflix. They made a mistake by, I guess, when they westernized the advertisements, they made a mistake of promoting as an anime, because it's technically not an anime. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like, it's very like, I hate the word PowerPointy, but like it's supposed to be like a comic book animated more than
like how they do with like the Vocaloid music videos.
Yeah. And so when they did a similar thing, like a manga promotion for it, and instead of an anime, they did like a live action of the first chapter, and Kenjiro Suda, who everyone was like, he's got a voice in the main character, which he does in the anime. They put him in the live action as the character, and it was amazing. Cool. Everyone's like, oh my god, I want a live action series. And they made a live action series, and they gave him a different actor, who was still amazing. But yeah, it's like, it's really cool when they put effort into those things.
Yeah.
That's what I thought they were gonna do with Chainsaw Man. I was like surprised. I was like, oh, I guess we're getting an anime. At first I thought it was gonna be like, maybe this is just like a manga promotion thing, but now we're gonna get a real anime, and that's about to break the internet.
I think they said fall is what they're planning.
Yeah, it is very it's so funny too, being like you and I have been to anime since, you know, decades ago, so it's like it's weird seeing how the generations have changed over time. Like even the recent years, like I got into anime Twitter I think in like 2014 maybe, and like, which isn't that long ago, but like when I was on it, it was like Hunter x Hunter had just ended, so there wasn't a lot of people. All there was like Naruto and Bleach accounts. Like I make a joke about it all the time. I was like, man, I miss the old anime Twitter when it's just a bunch of Naruto accounts telling you to turn on their notifications, because that's what it was. And now it's funny because in the last few years you can predict what's gonna happen. Like when Demon Slayer came out, I was like, the internet's gonna go apeshit over this. Jujutsu Kaisen, and you know the shit's gonna happen with Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man, especially the thing about Chainsaw Man, even now, it's like it's not even an anime, and it's taken over completely. Like, I literally have a Makima cosplay, and I could not tell you, like, anything that happens after the first chapter of Chainsaw Man. I haven't cosplayed Makima yet, but like all I know is that she treats men like dogs, and I'm like, oh, sign me up for this boss babe.
Which is funny.
You
her
know?
cosplay is black pants and a white shirt. Like, it's just like, but that image alone will break the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I read all of it. It's really good, but like the pacing is absolutely like batshit. It's very JoJo-esque in that sense.
I hear it's super dark, and it's like it's not like anything that we've seen before. It is what they say, you know. It
is very funny to see how trends are in anime now, because it's like people crave like that edgy shonen stuff, like JJK and like Demon Slayer. Everyone's like, oh my god, first episode his family gets murdered. And then there's also the other side where it's like Spy Family, where it's just like so wholesome.
And the crazy thing is, it's like when I was growing up on anime, like the only thing I really watched, like I watched Bleach with my brother, and like a lot of the shonen stuff I would watch with my brother, because obviously like I'm not gonna watch like romance anime with my brother, but like outside of like what
you're so good.
Like outside of that, like I would only consume like romance is always gonna be my favorite genre. Like I love it, but now that I'm older, whenever there's like a lot of talking in an anime, I'm like, oh my god, let's just come on, like let's get to the fight scene. All I want to see is like people beat the crap out of each other, you know. That's why I liked High School, what was it called, God of High School. And I wish the pacing wasn't so odd, because I love the fight scenes. I like immediately I was like, this is going to be my favorite anime, and then it ended and I was like, wow, why did they do that?
I think because that and like Tower of God were webtoons, and so a lot of people are like, it's really hard to adapt webtoons in an anime format, just because like the paneling's all different. But also, I liked it too. It reminded me a lot of like Hunter x Hunter vibes, because like it was like the whole like, let's test each other's powers.
Exactly.
And it is so funny, and I guess we are like dipping into the hot takes thing. Like, I used to be I still am very opinionated about things, but I mainly like, I just don't have the time to argue with people on the internet, so I keep it to myself. But I remember when God of High School came out, so many people were like, I hate how generic this is. Like, oh my god, we're just testing each other's powers. I'm like, what the fuck do you think is 90% of anime now?
Exactly.
Like
you're in the shonen category,
right?
bro.
like JJK I really like, but it's like, it's the same thing. Demon Slayer, it's the same thing. My Hero Academia, it's all this. It's literally power. Like, so to pick and choose one anime and be like, I don't like how that's too generic. It's like, it's all generic. The only difference between this series and this series is whether you really like the characters or the powers to begin with. But yeah, I really like that. And then I liked Tower of God, and then like both of them kind of just fell off towards the end. I think that had a lot to do with the production and not knowing like how they're gonna do the webtoon paneling or whatever.
Well, and that's why I'm really scared about solo leveling.
Oh my god, we said at the same time. I knew you were gonna say it.
Oh my god, I really hope it's good, but like I can't help but like,
first episode and we're reading ours mine anyway.
I know. It's just like, I feel like solo leveling could either be like the best thing to ever exist or the biggest disappointment to ever exist.
Yeah, I feel like it's a gamble with like most anime now to begin with, because Promised Neverland.
Oh, I was so shocked, because like I had never read the manga for Promised Neverland, and I was watching season 2, and even when I was watching season 2, I'm like, something feels off.
Right?
Like, what's wrong? And then when I found out, I was like, oh, it makes perfect sense now.
I was really sad, because I feel like that manga got way too much flack than it should have gotten. I think it ended how it was supposed to end, but yeah, there was like a big chunk of it that was just kind of like, what the hell is this? Which I feel like is so typical for shonen manga to begin with, where I'm like, I don't know why this is getting so much heat, because I thought it was fine. Like, I finished the whole thing, was like, and the art's amazing, but they really messed up, because when I read it, it's kind of how I feel about like Demon Slayer and a lot of other, I guess, even JJK, is that I'm like, I'm reading the manga and I'm like, I like the manga, but I think I'd like this more as an anime, because art style and just seeing things more visually, I can actually figure out like what's going on. Because my problem with JJK is like, the translations in the first like 50 chapters for me were just so confusing and convoluted that I was like, ugh, this is too much. But that's how I felt about Promised Neverland. I was like, you know, the manga wasn't the best, but if we switch it to an anime, I think it'll be amazing. And then they just like
completely ruined. Well, and the thing is like more of an anime watcher than I am a manga reader. Like, I've read manga, like I've read Chobits.
Chobits?
Yeah.
Boys Over Flowers.
Yeah, Boys Over Flowers. No, but I've read, like, I read a lot of manga, but it doesn't translate well for me because I'd rather see it as an anime. And I think most manga readers are like that, but manga readers are like, I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to read it and love it. But, like, for me, it's like, I can wait for an anime. But it's like, at that point, you know, especially with like what Netflix is doing, and especially like the first part this year, second part next year, it's like you don't really have a choice. It feels like they're trying to make anime watchers all become manga readers, you know?
Yeah, I don't get what Netflix scheduling is all about. Sorry, Netflix, if you're watching, maybe you should not do 2 different tours of anime and just release all the episodes, or do weekly. But anyways, it is funny because I consider myself more as an anime watcher. The only time I really read a manga is if I'm like super into the series, or something where it's like, well, they fucked up the anime and I still like the story. That's how I felt about One Punch Man. Is I still my favorite manga of all time. But like, yeah, like season 2 I was like, ugh, they were doing this wrong, I'm just gonna read it. And then like My Hero Academia was another one, and I'm still shockingly caught up on that. But
I hear My Hero, the manga, is like so much better than the anime.
It is, but recently, you know, I guess we'll save this for our shonen episode, but it's fallen into that curse of shonens not knowing where to go. You know, there's always that gap, and I don't think it's just shonens. I think like just a lot of long running series, they fall into kind of like this curse of like, it's like, where do we go from here now, or how long can I end this final act before it's dragged out for too long. But yeah, I've been more of a manga reader recently, just because like I think to watch anime now, it's like, now that I like live by myself and I have 2 cats and like cook and stuff, I don't have time to like read subtitles and like listen to, so like I'll just lay in bed and like catch up on manga on like Sundays and stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at now. But which is another reason why I watch. I know how you feel about this, because this is the hot take of the day.
Oh no.
I have to watch a lot of dubs sometimes, and I do agree that it does not do the same as subs, but it does make it so much easier to get through series when you watch it dubbed sometimes. But it has fucked up things for me. Well, first, I want to say, what are your thoughts on dub?
Oh, please. I am a dub hater. Now, I feel like
Which is funny because you grew up on dub. You're like, not anymore.
Yeah, especially because like I feel like I'm fair, especially when it comes to dubs. But like I also can acknowledge like the majority of dubs that I've listened to are just, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. Like sometimes it just doesn't do it justice, especially because like the script doesn't translate well. Like stuff like, I don't know, like I'm gonna level up and use my ultimate power on you. It's like it doesn't translate well to English. It sounds beyond cringe.
Yeah, because
it's like when you hear it in Japanese, it doesn't sound cringe to you. Maybe it's because you can't understand it or what, but like it doesn't sound cringe, you know?
I think it's like a lot of taking a contextual language and turning it a non-contextual language, or the opposite, because it's like, yeah, like we kind of have to like fill in the gaps when it comes to translations, but also like Japanese is very expressive. Like I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake in Japanese, and most people played in English, and when they came to my channel and watched in Japanese, like, okay, this is why Tifa doesn't annoy me as much, because like
the translation is completely different,
right? Because it's like she's so I guess she's so physical with her body language, you know, and like just in general, like all anime characters are very like expressive because they're cartoons, they have to be. So having that on top of like making obnoxious voices in a different language,
it
adds a level of cringe.
I really like can't I can't listen to it, like, and I'm saying, like, you know, especially like Cowboy Bebop, that dub is perfect. I love it. Like Bleach had a decent dub, Inuyasha had a decent dub. Ghost Stories I like just because it is so funny. It is not even like a dub technically, you know, but it is so funny to me. And it's like, or on High School Host Club, I will only watch dubbed.
It's so good.
It's such a good dubbed. It's perfect. So I'm fair. If a dubbed is good, I will admit it's good. Like Kotaro Lives Alone, I only watch that because I love the dub. dubs so much. I was like, Kotaro sounds so cute.
So you don't hate dubs?
I don't hate dubs, but I feel like even with like Nier Automata, I had to play in Japanese.
Me too.
You know, and it completely
That's 'cause
changed
I'm a
my
weeb.
experience with the game. So I don't know, like even with like Final Fantasy 7 just released their part 2 called Rebirth, and like I watched the trailer in English.
Yeah.
And they posted the Japanese trailer, and even in the Japanese trailer there's like it's so different. It's so different compared to the English. So it's like I would rather watch it in its native language and just read subtitles and watch dub. I get the people who are like, I don't want to read.
Did you play Final Fantasy Remake in Japanese?
I played it in English. And I enjoyed it, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but like it doesn't change the fact that there's like it's some stuff doesn't align and add up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just a huge Japanese voice actor fan.
Same.
So like Takahiro Sakurai did Cloud, who does Reagan, who's my favorite anime character. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to him.
And Tifa's voice actress in Final Fantasy VII has been Tifa's voice actress for like 15 years.
Yeah.
It's like people want to experience that because of the consistency. You know, I had a lot of dubbed fans upset with me, but you can't change my mind on this. I feel like, especially in Japan, also like the voice acting scene is so competitive, and like it is
also they're like, so I mean, I'm sure there's a wide amount of underpaid voice actors, but a lot of the ones in Japanese are actors and singers. Like
exactly.
When like the reason why a lot of 90s, early 2000s dubs were so good is because like we didn't have nearly as much anime to begin with, at least not as much being localized, but also there was a demand for it much more than now. Like now it's like there's controversy of dub actors not making any money, and it's like, and that has a lot to do with it, but also it's the fact that it's like you're taking a language that is like these characters are drawn and animated to fit exactly like what was originally said, and trying to translate it. It doesn't really have a matchup. One of the main reasons why I watch dub mainly is because I just don't want to sit there and watch the Japanese version, because then it's like I have to like fully focus. I can't eat. I can't like I have to have 100% focus. I don't have that. But like it's also ruined experiences for me. Like there is a couple anime that I've watched recently, and like people are gonna hate me for saying this because they said the dub's really good, and I was like, ugh. But I watched Nana. And I watched that in dub.
I didn't watch that.
And I was like, I just don't like these girls. They're just terrible people. Like, because like, the two main characters, one of them, I hated her. But I was like, but also hearing her in English, it made me remind me of girls that I hated in high school. So I was just like, well, now I just feel like I'm watching a girl who bullied me from when I was like 12 to when I was like 18.
Yeah.
And then so our producer's laughing. But also, like, I rewatched a lot of, when I had my old anime podcast, my co-host had not seen a lot of, like, you know, like, anime, like Hunter x Hunter, like Death Note and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my memory's fuzzy because I'm fucking 30. So I'm like, I will rewatch the show, and so I can get, like, Cliff Notes back. And it was just easier to rewatch it in dubbed, and so I rewatched Death Note in dub, and all it did was make the show hilarious. Ooh. Like, it was so, like, you know, dark. It was like that cat chases mouse type thing. I am
Kira.
Yeah, and then you watch it in English and the potato chip, and it's just like,
dude, I cannot. L in Death Note and dubbed, I can't watch it. I'm like, I watch a clip, I'm like, I can't do this.
Right? I rewatched ReZero in dub too, and I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. But to praise dubs, I rewatched Kill la Kill in dub. It was fantastic. I really loved it. I think for me too, it's a lot of female voice actors in English I like way more than male voice acting, because usually, or I guess male characters, because I feel like they sound too Ash Ketchum all the time. And the female ones, it's like if they're badass, they just sound like badass women. And if they're girls, they sound like girls, you know. But like every guy, whether it's like Naruto, Ash Ketchum, Ichigo, whoever, they all just sound like, they all just be like, yeah, I'm gonna become the Hokage.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's
believe
like,
it.
The thing is, did you watch Castlevania on Netflix?
I watched the first season. Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know if you'd call it like Western animation or whatever it is, but like the voice acting for that is some of the best voice acting I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
like just phenomenal, and it translates because it's written as it's being said. Exactly, it's written for English, so it translates perfectly. The voice acting is amazing, but then you take that and you take something that's supposed to be written in Japanese, like written for Japanese, and you try to translate
to watch
it to
Castlevania in Japanese.
Yeah, and it's like, this is not just towards English dubs. Like, I've watched anime in Turkish, and I will never go through that again.
I would love to watch an anime in
Oh
Turkish
my
with
god.
you. Wait, is there a lot of anime that's dubbed in Turkish?
So I've seen when I lived in Turkey, they had Naruto playing, and it was dubbed in Turkish.
Wait, what is Naruto's catchphrase in Turkish?
I did not watch that long, Lisa.
I need to know, because
they're just like
Date Bayo in Japanese and believe it in English. I wonder what it is in Turkish.
They're like Abiya Napion, it just does not sound good in Turkish. It's like watching an anime character speak Turkish was such a I felt like I was high and I wasn't high.
Have you seen the German Naruto opening?
I have not.
The original? Oh my god. I almost want to show you it. But they made, for the original Naruto, the German Naruto opening, they made it into an English rap with German accents. And it goes, Sasuke, he's really cool. Sakura, the beautiful. Here I am with my ninja clan. And it's just like a German guy rapping, and it's so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's not, I just don't want people to be like, oh, you're just finding a reason to shit on dubs. It's really not. I grew up with dubs. I feel like I'm fair. I feel like I'm very fair when it comes to dubs. No, I feel like there's people who like will literally go, that's the thing too, is that like, this is another thing I've noticed with the internet becoming what it is that people are ruthless. Like, they will go and attack dubbed voice actors. I don't get it.
And it's like, what are you guys?
Yeah, what are you doing? I got called a tryhard because I watched sub. They're like, oh, look at this tryhard trying to read.
Cute.
I'm like, what are you? Reading makes me a tryhard.
A beautiful woman with perfect eyebrows. She's not allowed to like the things I like. That makes me unique. Like, it is
crazy.
I hate it. Like, I usually, like, a lot of my friends, like, growing up weren't really like into anime and video games as much. Like,
Same.
even my friends now, so I know when to not push things onto people.
Yeah.
Or like, I wouldn't be like, you should watch it. Like, I don't do that to my friends. So it is really funny when you meet some like anime fans in public and all they want to do is like test your knowledge, like instead of making a bond, they just want to be like, what have you seen, what are your of course you're into JJK and Demon Slayer, you like, how could you like anything else? Like, ugh.
I worked at GameStop for 2 years. I worked at GameStop for 2 years, and I tell you, every day there are people who would skip my line just because they didn't want me checking them out, like checking their stuff out.
It's probably because they were nervous.
I was like, and I'd just stand there and I'd like see them go into the other line. And I'd be like, I can help you over here.
They're
and
like,
they'd be like, no, I'll wait. I'll be like, okay, like
that's
whatever.
Probably more because you were beautiful, and they're like, I don't want to look at a girl. I just want to get my games and go. Well, the other day I had someone too. Like, I love Gintama, and I know that Gintama's super huge in Japan. It's kind of getting bigger here now because everyone realized it ended well, so everyone's watching it. But like, I use Gintama reaction images a lot, like on Twitter and Instagram, or not Instagram and whatever. And someone's like, "Have you actually seen Gintama? Or are you just using these images?" I was like,
"Have you even seen it?"
I was like, bitch, I went to Japan for 3 months and visited every anime store to buy all the Gintama things. I have cosplayed as like 4 of the characters. I'm like, I am not someone you. Yeah. But it's like, oh, I get it. But it's like, also, who is gatekeeping reaction images to begin with?
Also, the weird thing is, it's like, I feel like, and I don't know if this is like primarily with men. Oh my god, I can't believe we're getting into this so early.
Of course we are.
I don't know,
first
like,
episode.
Who thought, like, because like I've heard like men say like anime isn't for women, but like the most successful anime are written by women.
Not even that. Women are the ones who brought anime to Western audiences.
I'm just like, when did that become a thing? And how does that make sense to you?
And it has to be people under the age of 25, because I don't know if you probably remember this, but in the 90s, shoujo anime was huge.
Huge. Marmalade Boy, all of it. I love it.
Like, the big three, yes, they're known for like obviously making manga and blah blah. But even before that, like, women were the ones that are the whole sole reason why anime became big. Like, shoujo was huge, and romance, all that shit, magical girl shit, and
I
then
eat it for breakfast.
And then and then right, and then over time, obviously, shonen got way bigger because of just because we didn't really have the English equivalent to that, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just really funny how it just took over, you know, the legacy of women bringing anime to Western audience and being like, no, it was actually men that did it, and now women are allowed to watch this. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Isn't Goku like voiced by a woman too?
Almost all of those,
It's
like Luffy,
what?
Naruto, which is so funny because all their voice actors are like 60 and 70 and they're still voicing like 15-year-old boys. But like, yeah, like most people in the industry are women to begin with.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, just like any industry though, men are gonna overshadow it, you know. Just same thing with streaming, you know.
Yeah,
and
but I like hate when people say that, and they're like, oh, your favorite, like in the same breath they'll be like, my favorite anime is Inuyasha, but then they'll say anime is not for women. I'm like, do you know who wrote Inuyasha? Huh? Do you know who wrote? Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Like,
like, dude, are you serious right now?
But also, it was just so funny because growing up, there wasn't like a gatekeep. There was like online because just that's a cesspool of people. But like when you met people, it was like you were excited because nobody was watching. Like even when like Black Butler came out, like nobody was watching that, and that wasn't even that long ago. But like now it's like it's really hard to even have like a conversation. I think it's gotten a lot better now because I think when this anime Twitter type personality type and like Reddit and stuff first started, it was a bunch of dudes flowing into the internet and just trying to earn their places when they were just getting shut down by everyone else, being like, anime sucks and they're not, or women suck and they can't like anime, and like they have a fucking Full Metal Alchemist profile picture, and it's like, do you not know who wrote that fucking series? Like it's just it's mind-blowing to me.
And it's the same with like video games too, as you know, like because like I get a lot of my interest in anime bleeds into my video games because I like play the JRPGs like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you're
and
a bigger weeb than me.
Yeah, they're all like that's all like anime. Like you cannot tell me like Final Fantasy is not anime.
It is, you know,
it's basic.
Anime of video games.
Exactly.
Have
like
you
even
seen their
Devil
hair?
May Cry is very very anime-esque, right?
Extremely.
And so like they say like I don't know, like people have like gate kept me against against Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, are you really gatekeeping a game where like the whole thing is my friends are my power? Are we doing
Are
this?
you really gatekeeping a game that Disney is involved
I know,
in?
like it's
the
a
biggest
Disney,
company in the entire world.
I'm like, what are you doing? And I don't get it because I feel like it just doesn't make sense because anime, I even say it like anime has unlimited content, unlimited audiences. Like there's anime specifically targeted just to women. So how are you going to sit there and say something like...
Well, that's the best thing about this podcast, because in the future episodes, we're going to have a segment where we just share the worst opinions we find on the internet about anime. And I'm very excited about that because that is 90% of the joy of being on Twitter is just seeing someone with a terrible opinion get shut down. I'm like, yes, this is why I still live. This is why I live my life.
Well, and I think it's also nice to like, at least for me, like when I see some of my favorite people that I follow like shut that stuff down, it's like, oh, okay, so like they're in the echo chamber, not me. Because sometimes you get like when you're like clinically online, which like I am. I don't know
I'm
if it's
incredibly online.
Yeah, like well, when you're online all the time, it's like sometimes you're like, am I wrong? Like, am I just crazy? But then when you see other people be like, nah, this is insane, then you're like, oh, okay.
What you do is you click on their profile and you look at their likes and you go, oh, they're transphobic. Oh, they're racist. Oh, okay, there's a sexualized 5-year-old girl.
Checking it off.
Okay, well, you know what? I think I'm right on this way. Yeah, I think this is why I really want to do this podcast with you, is because like you are when I first met you, I was like, oh, ARUUU is like she's like a little bean, she's so sweet and so innocent, and then 90% of you on the internet is like, fuck you guys, I fucking hate you shout the fuck up, blah blah, and you're just screaming. I was like, gee, I love her.
I can't, I'm Turkish, like there's one part of me that's very sweet, but then there's a big part of me that's Turkish, and it's like that's the part you usually get.
Great, because all your trolls are the same too. It's just the same person over and over again, just making
I know it's
profiles.
like that's my default now. Like before, I've like actually tried to reason with people online, and on my YouTube comments, I feel like people are actually there to have a debate and a conversation, which like I'm totally fine with. But I feel like on Twitter, especially because like Twitter's not a real place,
or
and once
TikTok.
you accept that, or
oh
TikTok, TikTok and Twitter are not real places, so you can't reason with people. So if you really want to say something, all you have to do is like just suck my left nut and then
right?
tell me
It's
how
just
it
like,
goes.
I don't
you know?
have the energy for you, sir. Or like when you block them, they're like, oh my god, look,
Yeah,
I
look,
bugged
I got
her. It's like,
blocked.
yeah, I don't have time for you, fucker. Okay,
It's
like this
like,
isn't because you
dude.
ruined my day. It's because I never want to hear from you again.
Yeah.
And like people take such pride in being
They
blocked.
do.
I
They
was
do.
blocked by Lisa. I'm such a queen. It's like, you don't mean anything to me. That's why
Yeah.
I blocked you. I'm gonna forget you exist after tomorrow, you know. And it's just good times. All right. Well, now that we have finished, well, we haven't really finished the hot takes. I have a lot of hot takes, but you know,
We have to spread them out.
we have to spread out our hot take. We don't want everyone to hate us on the first episode. I will say, I do want to ask, I guess this kind of lines in, is what are some of the worst animes you've seen?
This is really not a good question because
really
I
Gintama.
have gotten
It's mine.
flack for this. I have tried to watch Fate Stay. Everybody loves Fate Stay. Really, the only thing that I remember truly is the only thing more bland than Saber's personality was her design. Like, it was the
Wow.
most boring thing I've ever watched in my life. Now, I like Gilgamesh. I like Rin.
Wait,
I like
okay,
Ilya.
wait. So you watched Unlimited Blade Works?
I would assume that's the one that
He's like, "I am the
whichever
bone of
one
my sword,"
everybody
that guy?
recommended. Yeah, whichever one everybody recommended, because the moment I said I don't like Fate Stay, they're like, you have to watch this, you have to watch this. So
I
I've
think
watched
that's probably
it,
why. Yeah.
and I was like, I think this is one of the worst things I've ever watched. Like, it was just unbearable to me. I like the side characters, but the main character and Saber, that duo, was unbearable.
I really like UBW, but I think it's because I watched Fate Zero first, because you're supposed to watch that first and
Okay.
then UBW. But there was also original UBW that came out in like the 90s.
I mean,
And
even
then-
this is so convoluted.
But that's the thing, is that there are definitely people who dick ride that series too hard, because
Yeah,
it's like
yeah. I've experienced them.
it's the same.
They're great.
I mean, it's the same studio that did Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
everyone calls them Unlimited Budget Works because
Yeah.
they were in the deep for tax invasion. Yeah, that's why their CGI is absolutely incredible.
Mhm.
I went to I don't know if it's Ufotable or UFO Table. I went to the UFO Table Cafe. The
Mhm.
studio did it, and I was like, oh my god, you can just tell these guys are not paying their taxes. but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I really liked Fate Zero, but I made a joke on the internet about how there's a correlation between people who be like, what is your like top 7, like your 7 out of 10, what are your 7 out of 10 anime series, can you rank your favorite protagonists, like all these weird questions that are so repetitive. I'm like, I feel like there was this huge increase in these stupid repetitive tweets and hot takes after everyone watched Fate, because Fate fans have gotten so annoying and so pretentious over the
Yeah.
years, where it's like, so I don't.
Well, and the thing
I don't
for
hate
me,
you for that. I love the series, but I do sometimes the fandom really ruins things for you.
I feel like every other character deserves the spotlight over, like, I don't know why they focus on Saber and whatever the main character's name is, because they're just, I mean, for me,
Shinji.
they're,
No, I'm just
oh,
kidding.
is
No,
it? I was like,
I
same?
think it's a Mia.
But
Yeah.
it's like, they're just, I like Gilgamesh. I think Gilgamesh is great.
And hot.
And really,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I like him for his personality,
Yeah.
Lisa. But like, Gilgamesh is great. Ilya's my favorite. If I could choose one character, I will always love Ilya, even if I hate Fate. Love Ilya.
I'm really sad that they recommended you the wrong one first, but you know what? That's what you get for listening to the internet. So.
Yeah, that's what everybody on the internet said. If you watch this, you'll love it. I was like, I hate it so much that
Oh.
I'm never gonna touch this again.
You want to know what my worst? I guess I mean, I've seen a lot of bad anime, but one I actually finished was Sword Art Online. I really wanted to get into it because it was like, you know, when you Google what are anime I should watch, it's like that's always going to be like number one. And so I watched it and I was like, wow, for about 9 episodes is really good.
Exactly.
And then the whole sister shit happened.
I feel like, and I say this all the time on my stream, please don't get mad at me, even though I know you guys are going
Get
to.
mad at her. I'll give us content.
It's literally like Sword Art Online had the potential to be the greatest anime of all time, and then they just instead made it a cheap harem.
Super Isekai harem, where
Exactly.
it's like, let's see what other weird shit we can
It
get
had
away
so
with
much
because it's a
potential.
game.
It had so much potential. It could have been really just the greatest anime of all time, and it's just a cheap harem with very cringe just everything about it is cringe now.
It went like it really
went down. It started out so good.
It was
so great. Like Asuna was a great character, Kirito was a great character.
What was his name? His friend? What was it? Kenny or whatever?
Something like that.
Yeah,
but like
some
the
white guy
cast
name.
was so strong, and then afterwards it was like they just kept going down, down,
Richard? I
down,
don't
and then
know.
you're like and then apparently there's like Alizication.
Yeah, there's so many
Those are like
different-
supposed to be really good, but like at this point I am tired. I'm done. I've already let go.
But
you
also
know?
at this point, there's so many anime in that genre where like Sword Art Online,
I
like
hate isekai.
it's not gonna stick out to you anymore.
I hate isekai. I am officially an isekai hater. I love
I am
certain
too.
isekai, like Overlord. I'll still watch when it comes out because I am attached to Overlord.
It's
you
just
know?
like, well, like if you want to watch a really good isekai, Devil's a Part-Timer is great.
Oh,
but,
I
like,
hear that's really
but
good.
it's not technically. It's not like the thing where it's like this incel virgin goes to another world where he can like sexually
I
assault
know
girls.
exactly,
Like, it's
exactly. Even
like, is
with
it
like,
wrong to smell my sister's feet in another universe? Like,
Well, and
whatever
that's why,
names they
like-
call themselves. They always have such stupid names.
They are, and they're just so repetitive and the same. Like
My
I like
armpits turned into
reincarnated
a
as a
slime.
slime. Yeah, reincarnated as a slime was like decent, but like even then, I'm like, dude, like, can we get not even like completely disregard that Shield Hero. Shield Hero started
Ew.
out so good. I like liked it.
That's like Walmart
And
version
then
of Sword Art
and then
Online.
like season 2, you're like, what happened? Like what happened? It's like they always have strong starts, but that's the thing with isekai. It's like, oh, we have this really good idea, but we're not gonna flesh it out. We're just gonna add all these cheap things like lots of hot girls with big boobies.
Boobies. I
like-
like how you say that. Big boobies.
Like nobody's gonna be able to keep up with the main character's power creep. He's gonna be OP. Nothing's gonna be able to touch him. And it's like it's all these like tiny stuff. Like, oh, he's gonna fight this, and he's gonna fight this, and he's gonna fight this, and it's always the same repetitive bullshit.
That's
I'm
why
so
that's
sick
why
of
they
it.
Have the goofy ones are funny.
And you have 7 isekai coming out each season. It's like enough
know.
of the isekai.
how many horse girls do I have to see?
I know.
And this weird glass sweaty virgin being like, well, I guess I'll protect her. Like it's just
And it's like
yeah.
the thing is, it doesn't even have to be an isekai. I don't know if this counts as an isekai because like I don't see it as an isekai. But have you seen Princess Connect?
No.
It is so good. It is so good.
Is it
The
actually an isekai though?
Well, the thing is, it's like it's not really, but it's like the isekai format. They just don't go to.
I mean,
another
technically, Dr.
world.
Stone is an isekai. if you
Yeah,
think
but like
about
they
it.
are in another world, but they don't go to that other world. Like they're all like natives there, right?
Okay.
So it's like, but it like has the thing of like leveling up,
Yeah.
powering up, fighting mobs, stuff like that. But it's so good. The formula is perfect.
I really liked ReZero for a while because I thought the concept was cool. Did you ever watch that one?
Oh, I love ReZero,
Yeah.
but I hate it now.
But
I
yeah,
loved it. hate
right?
now.
It was so the first like season was
Mhm.
so good, and then it's like it just got so
Yeah.
dialogue
And
boring,
convoluted,
and
yeah.
boring and heavy, and it's just
Especially,
like,
like-
why are you ruining the one good one out there?
I feel like they introduced Echidna, and then after they took Echidna out, I was like, okay, I'm over it.
Yeah, and then I just don't understand who I'm supposed to be rooting for at
Exactly.
this point.
Yeah, and
I'm-
then like they make you. The thing is, like, do you like Rem or Amelia more?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I like was full. Like, I
Rem's
was
been
like
dead apparently, or
exactly.
asleep
She's
this whole
gone.
time.
They just
Like-
they straight up just yoinked her out of the second season for
I
like
don't
the
know, am
whole
I supposed
season.
to, is
make
Amelia
you
a
like it.
witch? Who is
It's
she?
like they're trying to force me to like Amelia, and it's like, dude, you already like Amelia's character was already ruined in season 1. Like I cannot like her.
The funniest thing too is like they're always like, okay, well maybe you should read the light novel instead. I'm like, why would I read it if I don't like it? Like what-
exactly.
like,
They're
I
like the
love-
light novel's so much better. Read the light novel, and I hear it is better. Like I believe it's better, but it's like I'm already tired. Like
Yeah,
I'm
like, I'm
tired
not
of
in-
trying to like
If I
this.
was still invested in the story, then yes. But
Yeah.
I'm not because I just want to
Exactly.
figure out how the hell he ended up there. That's all I want to know at this point.
And it's like the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and over and over again. And I get it, but like that formula
so many
only
people are gonna hate this episode.
there's like no longevity in that formula. I feel
Yeah.
like
I feel like it got dragged out in parts that I didn't want it to. When it's like I just want my Rem back. I
yeah.
just want my Rem back.
Well,
so
and even then, it's so. I don't know, man. I really did try to like ReZero.
It
And then
was-
after they took the break for season 2, I was like, this is my time to stop.
We were on the
you know?
exact same page.
Yeah, I was
about
like,
that.
it's my time to stop. They took the break. I'm not enjoying this first half of the second season. I'm done. I waited what, 5 years for a second season, and this is what
at
I
this
got.
Point, no one can recommend me an isekai that I'll like, and people are going to. There's going to be a comment in
Drop
here.
your isekais.
Somebody is going to be in the comment and be like, you should watch this one called, you know, Can I Sniff My Mom's Legs in Another World or some shit. They're all just so perverted and like just I don't want to watch them.
There's one where it's like there's a new one coming out, like I'm gonna be a pharmacist in another world, where it just follows this guy who's literally a pharmacist in a isekai.
See, I like the reverse ones. Like
yeah.
Devil's a part-timer, or like the Skull bookseller one.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I like ones where it's like, and it's like the whole point of it is to be goofy and cute versus like how edgy and gross and convoluted can we make this, because we now have this whole other universe to explore. Yeah. So you and I are on the same page for that.
I'm telling you, it's not technically an isekai, but you should watch Princess Connect. It's really good. The formula is everything you're describing.
We'll definitely have, I mean, like, we're gonna have future episodes about certain topics, obviously, but we're also gonna have recommended shows that we'll recommend each other, and we'll have our hot takes. I feel like it's so funny because like I said, I have not been a consistent knowledgeable anime person in the last couple years, but already just being on this first episode, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of information just sitting in the back of my noggin right now, so that I just did not realize was gonna come out in this episode. But yeah, no, we're definitely on the same page, and there's a lot more bad anime that I've seen out there.
Yeah, and I just want to preface, like, I have watched a crap ton of isekai anime, like a lot of isekai anime. I'm just tired of the same formula regurgitated. So I like isekai. I don't like new gen isekai. I think that's better.
There's a manga someone recommended me where a guy becomes a vending machine.
I kind of like, watch it out of
okay,
curiosity.
but I would watch that. Unless the vending machine has like used panties or something in it, then I won't watch it. But
you know, do you know what has the same format as Re:Zero, but it's done way better because it's only one season?
What?
Erased.
Erased is really good. The only thing is it was too predictable. I was like, it's the teacher. Spoiler alert. Sorry. Immediately I was like, oh yeah, it's him. Why? I'm like,
yeah, but
too
I
nice of an adult.
It.
Okay, but it was really good. I cried.
Even when you even when you predict it, you're still living through all of that over
and
over
why
again, and they give
so
you this
good?
sense of hopelessness. You know,
you want to know why it was good? Because it was like 13 episodes.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's one season. It does what it needs to do. It conveys what it was meant to do, and then it stops there. Whereas I feel like you said, Re:Zero has just dragged on.
It's the same. You know, like, this is an anime, but one of my favorite shows of all time is Breaking Bad, because when they interviewed, is it Vince Gilligan? I don't know. Gilligan, there you go. When they interviewed him, they asked him, like, when do you plan on ending the series? Like, oh, it's going to be over after the 5th season because then it's going to be too long.
Yeah.
Like, it's like when writers know that their series is going on too long, I'm looking at you, Oda, they know when to end it, and then they end it good instead of being like, how much farther can I drag this out? So, yeah, it's like, I feel like with isekai, because there's so many of them, they have to have these wacky titles to stick out from each other. They're like, if I make the series longer, then people will think it's worth it. And it's like, no, you should make it way shorter. Get to the point. Get to the solution. It's like, it's a video game. How long does a video game need to last, you know? Like,
and especially with, like, I don't know if you've seen it. It's pretty old. It's really underground. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's called
Pokemon.
Yeah. It's called Batoom.
Batoom?
Yeah. BTOOOM.
Wait, I recognize the name, but I haven't seen it.
It's really, really good. And they stopped at mid, but it never got a second season or anything. But I feel like even if it got a second season, the second season would have to be short because they have to wrap it up. But like, they ended it almost perfectly. They ended it on a cliffhanger, but the ending was enough to where you're like, oh,
I'm
content. Yeah, I'm content with this ending.
That's how I feel about Hunter x Hunter. Like, I'm glad manga's coming back, but I'm content that it's over.
Yeah,
in the anime.
Exactly.
You know?
Like I'm content here. Like I can stop here and be happy and really enjoy it for what it was. Same with like Tokyo Ravens, again, one of those underground ones, but like Tokyo Ravens had like one season, and it was really good. I really loved it.
I'm glad you didn't say
content.
Tokyo Revengers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, okay, let's go into this conversation now. Yeah, no, and I feel like that's also, you know, a lot to do with older anime as well. It's just like, now there's so much and it's so competitive that's like people kind of just take these weird routes with things. But like, yeah, like even like Golden Boy was like 6 episodes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like older stuff too. It's just like, maybe because it wasn't such a demanding market, and maybe there was just more of like a budget for it or something.
Well, the older ones, I thought the standard, like even too, it could also be like the standard for the older ones was like 26 episodes, and I feel like that's more than enough.
Unless it's, you know, I guess a long running shonen.
Yeah,
or
exactly,
something.
exactly.
Well, that is what we're about a good time now. Wow, that was a great first episode of Two Weebs in a Pod. I really like the name actually, because it feels like we're in a pod, even though it's a podcast, and I love play on words. So anyways, yes, so we'll be doing this you know, every couple weeks. We'll have a new episode, and we'll have all sorts of hot takes and topics and anything. Honestly, if you guys have anything you specifically want us to cover, or any topics you want us to talk about and yell at each other about, just let us know, because you know, we're here for you.
We didn't get into our disagreements. Lisa and I have disagreements, but I feel like for the first episode we should agree we're one big happy family. We
need to establish a relationship as a couple first before we have to go to therapy.
Have our first argument. Yeah, our first argument's gonna be about Jujutsu Kaisen for sure. Yeah,
we're in the honeymoon phase right now of this podcast. But anyways, yeah. So I'm Lisa Wallen. Thank you so much.
I'm ARUUU. Hello.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Hello. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Yay.